Hey, welcome to your Pisces horoscopes for the week of September 10th to September 16th. We continue to have Saturn and Neptune in retrograde in Pisces, and both planets are in opposition with planets that are in Virgo, specifically Saturn's opposition with Mercury. That retrograde Mercury, at least retrograde up until Friday of this week, but it is still going to be in a shadow period next week. So it is still going to cause a little bit of difficulty, a little bit of challenge here. Saturn's focus is on the mind and how the mind works. And its retrograde is sort of mirroring that responsibility to where your head goes back at you in a very probably uncomfortable way, because it's usually uncomfortable when things get mirrored back in your face, if that makes sense, in an opposition with Mercury, which is a very mentally stimulating planet, if that makes sense. It's actually a perfect lineup, but really it's a challenge because Pisces is a very emotional sign. It's not saying you guys aren't intellectual or smart, and it's not saying that you guys don't use your brains. What it is saying, though, is that too much emotion when you're trying to make a decision specifically around work, because Mercury is very much focused on career, your emotions do not have a place in those decisions. Going with how you feel about something is different than making a decision in an emotional way. When you make a decision in an emotional way, you have a bad day at work, and it's one isolated bad day at work that brings you to tears, and you go, that's it, I can't do this job anymore, right? Whereas feeling your way through something helps you to go through your feelings of what you're feeling about the situation that day, but also kind of sort of takes you to the place where you can make a clearer decision, right? You're not making a decision based on how you feel in the moment. You're making a long-term decision. This is one bad day. You don't want to make an emotional decision based on one bad day. We're always going to have difficult days, if that makes any sense at all. Neptune is focused on those you love, your family, in opposition with the sun, which is also focused on career. And Neptune continues to be retrograde as well. Now, all of those feelings being amplified. And I do have to say that on Tuesday, the moon is in conjunction with Mercury, and then Wednesday in conjunction with the sun. So these feelings really do play into these oppositions on those days as the moon joins these planets to influence that in a very emotional way. So if you're already an emotional person, with the moon kind of sort of coming in and making it a little bit more emotional, that is going to be a little bit chaotic for you guys, I think. Bottom line here is that within what the situations that you guys are going through, it's really important. Of course, yes, you're going to be emotionally frustrated, or you're going to be emotionally upset over the situation. Take the time to step aside for a minute, to be frustrated, to be emotional, to be whatever it is that you feel. Work through those feelings and then go back to the situation in a way that's a little bit more focused. And when you're making a decision based on what you're doing, you also are making a clearer decision, a more logical decision. Again, just because you're an emotional sign does not mean that you don't use your brain, that you don't do things in a logical way. Most Pisces do both. In fact, you guys are just a little bit of everybody that came before you. So you're all 12 signs in one. You have the ability to be able to use all of the energy from all three intellectual signs that came before you. Pisces are absolutely fantastic decision makers when they're not making decisions based on current feelings. And that's what this is all about. In some cases, I feel like this is going to be really amplified for those that are caretaking, or taking care of family members or people that are, in your household. So your own children, for example, somebody else's children, or children within the family. This could be older adults. I know a couple of Pisces actually that are in the process of taking care of older adults right now. These are all very frustrating situations, even when it's your children. And I think that parents really struggle with this. There are days where you just don't like your children. Okay. It doesn't make you a bad mom, and it doesn't make you a bad dad, and it doesn't make you a bad person, because this particular day, I just don't like this child. Okay. But the next day is different and everything changes. It's perfectly normal to not like the human beings that you've created from time to time. It's perfectly normal to get frustrated with older people that you're caretaking for, because it can be difficult. They're slower. Sometimes they're not cognitively there. They're not understanding. You really just have to finish this so you can move on to this, but you're on their time, not yours. So there's a lot of things that come up around that are very frustrating in terms of other people being involved in your life. And you may even find yourself just wishing that you could disappear. Like my mother used to say when we were kids and she couldn't take us anymore. She said, "That's it, I'm changing my name and I'm moving to a cave." And of course, we always wanted to go with her because we thought that would be so cool to live in a cave. And we insisted on knowing what her name was going to be too, because we wouldn't know how to address her. We didn't get it at all. But as I am older now, I totally get where she was coming from, because I really wanted to disappear to that cave more than once myself. Bottom line is, it's okay. You're not a horrible person because you are emotionally stressed out. But give yourself the time, even if it's 10 minutes, to just clear your mind, clear yourself of the emotions, maybe even have a good cry. To hell with it. Crying is releasing that pent up aggressive energy that's inside of you so that you can refocus and continue to do what you need to do. As always, sacrificing ourselves for other people is not an easy thing to do. And it becomes less easy as you progress. I don't know why we all feel this wonderful, we're going to live in this wonderful bubble of love and happiness because we sacrificed ourselves for somebody. It's never how it works at all. But we have moments like that. And it's the moments that you really have to grab onto and celebrate, and not spend so much time focusing on how difficult and how challenging the situation is, if that makes sense. So that's what I have for you guys this week. If you love your horoscopes, please click the link in the description and send me a copy. I would really appreciate that. If you're listening rather than viewing, that's ko-fi.com/heavy metal psychic. Also, go on over to heavymetalpsychic.com. You can book time, your own personal reading here with the Heavy Metal Psychic. I've got another reading that is just launched for the end of the year for next year. You can check that out as well and see what that's all about. All kinds of fun stuff going on the website. I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Psychic. Thank you so much for watching this week. I will see you guys next week. And in the meantime, you guys, you're stronger than you think. You have to believe it, even sometimes when you can't, but you are stronger than you think. You guys got this. Make it a great week, you guys. I'll see you guys next week.